Hey, how's it going everyone? I hope you guys are awesome because today we're going to take a look at how to create the force speed effect that you saw from the Duel of the Force Star Wars Sword. Ready? Let's go! Now that was awesome. Okay guys, a quick note before we get started, make sure to check out the Creative Store, but specifically for the Star Wars inspired product packs. There are a couple, but they're essential if you want to bring that awesome idea that you have to life. My personal recommendation would be the Star Wars Complete Film Kit because you cannot beat the value of that pack, and it has everything that you guys have seen across the channel, like the Star Wars VFX Academy series Vol 1 and 2, and of course every asset that went into creating the Duel of the Force Star Wars Sword that was released this summer, and even more. If you guys cannot get that one, my second recommendation would be the Star Wars Essentials Kit, and like the name suggests, it has bits and pieces from every product, and basically it comes all together so you guys can get started. Highly suggest you guys to check them out. You do not want to miss on those things, and I'll have the links in the description. With that said, fire up After Effects and let's get started. Okay guys, so here we are in After Effects and I have the composition ready to go. So the first thing I want to show you guys is the original, which is this one. Of course it's been graded a bit, but that doesn't matter for the effect that we're doing. So the first thing that we need to do is to track our scene. So the way that you do that is you select your layer, right click and select track camera. Now if you have the time and your computer can take it, I will click the advanced tab and check the detailed analysis. It's going to take a bit more time, but it's going to do a hell of a lot better job of tracking your scene. Now once you do that, you're going to have a ton of points. You know how this goes guys, these are very basic stuff. You're going to select a couple of points, right click and click on create camera and null object. So we don't have time to do that now, so I've already done that. As you can see here, we have our camera and we have our track null. Now that track null is important because even though we're not going to link the effects, once we turn those effects into 3D layers, they're going to stick to that null and they're going to stick to our scene, which is very important guys. So let me take you step by step of how I did what I did. I'm actually going to enable the first ghost freeze effect right here, but I'm going to remove all the effects. And more than that, I'm going to change the blending mode to normal so we can see what happens. So I'm going to scroll right up. So here's how you do this effect guys, which is pretty cool. So I basically, throughout my timeline, I selected specific points that I thought would be cool if they were frozen, and that would be right where either the character makes a significant step or he charges before he goes, which is the first thing here. So what I do is I go to my sequence. If we go right behind there, or better off right there. So I went to this frame, right? Let me isolate my layer, and I duplicated my layer by hitting Ctrl D to duplicate, and then I right clicked and select time and freeze frame. You don't need to do that, it's just how I do it. So now I will select my pen tool and I will zoom in and I'm gonna trace around the character, just like so. And of course, the more detailed job you'll do, the best it's gonna be. And once I'm done tracing my character and only my character, because this is very important guys, we're not gonna leave anything out, I'm gonna isolate that layer. So let's say I'm gonna do a really bad job now. Let's say that this was my character, right? And let's pretend between each other that this is the best roto ever. What I would do then is I would hit Ctrl Alt and S on the keyboard, and this brings up After Effects render for frames, and I will leave everything as is, it doesn't matter. I will save that frame. Now the cool thing is, once After Effects saves that frame, I can then bring that frame back into After Effects and use it as the basis for the effect. So this is what I have right here, guys. Let me open it up so we can see it again. So this is the roto and still frame render that I just showed you guys. So I dropped it back into After Effects, as you can see here, as a layer. I trimmed it a bit and we're ready to get started. So the first thing that I'm gonna do to this layer is, if I toggle the switch, is make it into a 3D layer. And once I do this, as you can see, it automatically places it into the scene. And of course I can move it around a bit, make it really fit exactly where the character did that step or that move that we're freezing in time. So now that I did that, if I scroll through the timeline, you guys are gonna see that that frame sticks because we did the track at the beginning. So that's why it's very important to have a good track. Now that that's done and I know that's gonna work, I'm ready to start applying effects on that specific layer to make that cool effect. So I'm gonna toggle the switch back, and the first thing that I'm gonna do is change the blending mode to screen. Now, because I'm working with a light effect, let's say like the aura that the character lifts back as he moves through with speed, he leaves back a light effect. And when you do light effects, it's a cool trick to just change the blending mode to screen, because you're gonna apply light effects, right, with brightness and all that stuff and glow assets. So I'm gonna go into the effects app and we're gonna take it step by step on why I did the choices that I did. So the first thing to do is, I don't care about any color information that that image has, so I applied a tint effect, and you can go to effects, color correction, and hit tint. Now that that's done, everything becomes black and white, which is what we want. Now, this is one of the most important effects when it comes to this particular VFX scene. There is an effect called Find Edges, and you can click the Effects and Presets tab and type in Find Edges, and you're gonna find the effect, and everything is gonna be good to go. So let's see, find edges, good to go. You click it and you drop it in and you're good to go. Now within the Find Edges effect, I selected the invert option, because if I don't, you see what it does? It outlines the character, but we don't care about the white sections in the center. We want to invert those and have the white edges at the edges of our freeze frame. So hitting invert, you can see where it does, and you can start seeing where we're going with this. So now this is the basis with what we're working for, but of course it's way too plain. It's just a white outer edge thing from our freeze frame. So the next thing is to apply a glow effect to start really creating that aura effect. So I'm gonna go to effects, stylize, and hit glow, as you can see guys here. And this is tricky because you really have to play with the settings depending on your scene. If I zoom in here, you can see it's a very slight difference, but it's a significant one to start making it look like it's a light kind of thing. So this is my settings, but they will really depend on your clip, how far it is, how close it is, the resolution, and all that stuff. So let's move on to the next one. Now the next one is very easy. I want to colorize that specific aura, and this is a personal choice. If I open up the dark saber effect right here to have our lightsaber color, I chose to make it the same color as that lightsaber. So we have a red lightsaber, so if I open up Visicolor Vibrance, you can see I made it a bit orangey, because I know I can manipulate the hue of that color later, but I have it close to red, or more of a fiery color. So Visicolor Vibrance, guys, for those that do not know, it's a free plugin from Video Copilot, as you guys can see here, and you can go to their page. They're awesome, and just download it, throw it in After Effects, and it's a very good plugin to colorize things. So that's it. Let's move on to the next one, because as you guys can see, there are quite a few. The next one is a hue and saturation effect, and it's what I just referred to before with color. Just by applying a hue and saturation effect, I can go to the master and start playing with the hue. So if I put -25, it's gonna move towards the reddish or even more purple of an effect. If I go the other way, it's gonna go more to a yellow, to green. You know how the color score works. So the way that I did this is because when you apply the VC color vibrance effect, for some reason the reds and sometimes the deep blues do not work as accurately as the color very close to it. So if you can see here, if I just put it onto red, it's just gonna make everything red, and if I put it to blue, it's gonna make everything blue. But as you guys can see here, guys, we have a very slight color shift. Like it goes from like a very orangey orange, if that's a thing, to a red, and that's why I selected a fiery orange color, so then I can play with my hue but still retain some of that color value that the VC Vibrance plugin applied. So next I have a curves adjustment just to brighten things up, and again, if I zoom in here, you can see what I'm talking about with the color. It's not just one color, but it's a cool range between yellow, orange, red, and even very rose red, if I can say that. So a curves adjustment, simple, as you guys can see. Again, this will depend on your clip, but basically play a bit with the exposure of the layer, and then we have an actual exposure effect, as you guys can see here, but this time we have it we have an, let me go here because we need to look at the actual layer. We have an expression to that effect. So if I go to the exposure effect right here and click down, go to the master, go to the exposure, you can see I have an expression, and you guys can actually copy this expression because it's going to work mostly throughout. Now what this does, when you go to the effect, you can click Alt and the exposure keyframe. It's going to open you the expression control, and you can type this is wiggle parentheses 50 comma 0.5 comma 0.5 and parentheses. And what this does is it will give a very slight flicker effect. Of course, you can play with the values if you want more flicker or to higher rate of flickering and things like that. But the cool thing is, this is because it's a light effect. Putting a slight flickering effect is really gonna sell the fact that it's emitting light instead of just being a constant light source of something, right? So I found out that with light effects, this technique works quite well, just to make that extra step. So with that said, this is the exposure effect, and it just is there to apply that flickering value that I just mentioned. So next we have a very important effect that really puts this effect up by 10, right? And this is the heat distortion effect. Now this is not a free plugin, but if you're serious about VFX, I highly suggest it. Once again, it's from Video Copilot, but it's not free, but it's the best plugin you can get for heat distortion effect. So if I fire it up, you can see what it does. So our outline of the character is too perfect, right? Like it just looks like a neon sign or something. With the heat distortion effect, what we do is we apply distortion as well as heat elements. As you can see, guys, these sections that are blurred are like the heat effect that you get, and some other sections are not, but they do have that cool distortion. Now the cool thing is, as you guys saw in the preview, it really helps with making it look very distorted, have that cool aura effect, and have that animation that helps when you have a moving imagery, basically. Because if it just sits flat and it's just a frame, it literally you don't have to know crazy stuff about VFX, but if you know enough, you will just be, well, they just froze the neon character in space. Okay, cool. But with this effect, it really sells the whole thing. Now, these are my settings. They don't work for every scene, but you can copy them and see if they work for you. But I highly suggest playing through playing through with all the values and get your own matrix and see what works for you and what you like best. For me, this works pretty good, so that's why I used. And again, these are the exact same values, the exact same settings that I had to the final render up to the release of the short film, Duel of the Force. And why I'm saying this is because I really want to show you guys the real stuff. I don't want to just try to remake something and rush through it and be like, yeah, and you do this. These are the actual settings that I used, which I think is pretty cool. So you have the choice between fire, smoke, and incendiary, and then these are my values. I didn't really want a crazy amount of wind speed, so I keep the wind to 2, and that's basically it. And even the direction is the same because it doesn't really matter, it happens so fast. Now with that done, all that's left is a couple of hue adjustments again to get that hue looking right. And actually, oh yeah, that's cool. Yeah, so it's not like a must-have, but I just wanted you to show you guys, when let's say you went through all this trouble and you wanted to change the color, you would just apply a hue thing and you would just go through. But as you can see, when I change the hue to a dramatic difference than my original, everything becomes the same color, almost. Like it's green, okay, cool, versus this that has that cool range that we talked about. So I'm gonna make this fit again, and I'm actually gonna open them, or actually leave them off, it doesn't matter. So that's pretty much it, guys. As you can see, it's very straightforward. It just needs a lot of tempering with effects and values to get things looking right, but the gist of it is that. Now this was the first layer where the character was frozen in time, or his aura was, and I chose to do 3 more. But once you do the first one, the rest of them is literally just copy pasting effects, which I think it's pretty cool. Let me close this because they have some other stuff. You see here, I was trying things out to see what was working, and I just left some things there. So that's it. Once I have all of my layers, as you can see, I put them correctly in the timeline. And actually, if I hit T to bring up opacity, you can see that I gradually apply them to the scene. They don't just drop, right? With a good opacity control, we go from 0 to 100, and it looks pretty cool. We have very gradual implementation of the effect. So I'm gonna open the lightsaber, which is the blue one that's coming up, the flash, and the anamorphic bars right here. And that's pretty much it, guys. If I change the res for a second and we scroll through, we will see the second one right there. And as we're gonna go through, let me do a quick preview thing. See, right when the step is, that's where I froze the other one, and they just stay in place because of our cool track and our cool effects that go through and through. And that's pretty much it, guys. Okay guys, so that's a wrap. I hope you enjoyed the tutorial and you learned something. Make sure to check the rest of the videos on the channel, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Until then, don't forget to visit the Creatrix store for awesome assets and that elusive black box, and unleash that creativity.